Self-study of clinical looking glass, tutorial 8. Build a congestive heart failure cohort using a diagnostic set. For those who wish to gain a deeper understanding of cohorts, read Riddles in Accountable Healthcare, available on Amazon as paperback or as Kindle. Let's consider the congestive heart failure cohort we want to build. We want to build the earliest congestive heart failure admission in March of 2012 for people aged greater than or equal to 65. Go into Event Canvas. The first step, as you recall, in the past we built a folder in which we put our cohorts. We're going to do the same thing now. We're going to highlight or point to collections and cohorts. We're hovering over collections and cohorts. Right-click, New, Folder, and we're going to call this Congestive Heart Failure, CHF. We're going to save it. Now we're going to actually build our cohort. Right-click, New, Cohort. The cohort is going to be made up. It's going to be named CHF March 2012. We have the event canvas. We have our GUI editor below. We're going to call this CHF. We're going to choose earliest. We're going to have our event definition. Left click on new event definition. It opens up our event palette. We put down CHF admission. We're going to select inpatient admission. We're going to hover over definition. A box appears around it. We right click. We add a condition. That condition is going to look at attributes that belong to admissions. You can say an admission can have a referral agency. It can have a nursing station that you're admitted to, a DRG weight. You can have a whole bunch of things, but what we're going to use now is inpatient ICD-9 group. This is the ICD-9 diagnosis. And we're going to build a set of diagnoses. We hit the three-dotted button here. When you don't know what you should do next in order to get a set or to get anything else, the three-dotted button is your clue, is your friend. Hit that. And we're going to clear whatever was here before. Three-dotted button tells you we're going to help you build a set, and I know, Looking Glass says, I know you're looking for an ICD-9 diagnosis set. There are lots of sets we could have built, but I know from the context that you're in, it's an ICD-9 diagnosis set. And now we want to search for what would be heart failure. If you happen to know what the code is, you can click the code and just put it in. But if you don't know the code, you can type in heart failure and do find. And here are a whole bunch of heart failures. And you can see the codes are for all 428s. The other way of doing this is to go to Google and look for what would be the codes for heart failure. If you want, instead of this, you can put in 428. And having clicked on code already, and you find it, and here are all the heart failures again. You can add individually by pressing the control button down, and then left clicking on the ones you want to bring over, or you can add them all over. In this case, I want to bring all the heart failures over. Using the code 428. Now I save it. It asks me for a name. I say heart failure 428 ICD-9, so I know what I'm dealing with. I save it, and now it's saved in Looking Glass. I close, and now, having already built it, I now can invoke it from the different sets that are here. I click on here. I see something called user heart failure. You see all these other code sets. There are some sets that come with Looking Glass, but they're rather old, and they may not have all the ICD-9s that you may want. You can start out with them and then modify. But because I'm the user, USR, mine are on top, I choose heart failure. So now I'm going to find ICD-9 group in set heart failure, and I have to choose what the diagnosis location is. Is it the admit diagnosis, I wouldn't trust this because it's very unreliable in the system. Is it primary, the primary reason the person was hospitalized? Is it secondary, that is, it's not primary? Third, fourth, fifth are all considered secondary. Or is it any position? I think I'm going to take primary only. Was it present on admission? There are some diagnoses that are reliably recorded as present on admission. Things like decubitus ulcers. Because there's a huge penalty for developing decubitus ulcers, this is reliably recorded in the system. But for other diagnoses, it's not. So I would choose not to put anything in here and just leave this as no restriction at all. In fact, for this exercise, what we're going to do is we're going to choose not only primary, but primary or secondary. So if it was anywhere in the diagnosis list, first, second, third, fourth, we would record it as being a patient we want to see. Now, as you can see, the event definition line is undefined. I'm going to update and close. That's going to then populate the event definition line with this diagnosis set. So now we've defined this is what a CHF admission is. We'll update and close. CHF admission now has populated the event type. We're going to identify the duration. It's a new duration definition. Remember, it was March 2012 we were looking for. March 2012. So that would be from 3/1/2012 until 4/1/2012, including 3/1/2012 and not including 4/1/2012. We update and close, and that will then populate the duration definition. There you have March 2012. We do have a demographic requirement. The demographic requirement, as you recall, was patient's age greater than or equal to 65. So I right-click on the definition, I add a condition, I choose for my demographics age, I choose for my drop-down here greater than or equal to 65. I update and close. I update and close. This is now populated. Now my GUI for the event canvas is fully populated with information on the admission, with the event, with information on the event, with information on the date, and information on age. I update and close. This line gets populated, and we're ready to build. For the sake of completeness, I'm going to edit the index event line and make sure it's pointing to that first line. Of course, there's only one line here, so this is unnecessary, but it's just a good habit to get into. Now I will build. And there's 671 patients who had congestive heart failure in 2012. Each person is counted only once. And now you are able to build cohorts of patients with a singular diagnosis.